Hello again, book lovers. In a bit of a somber and a bit reflective mood this morning. I'm going to be doing something quite different from the kind of books I usually read from, and it's going to be this. This is In Limbo. This is the second edition of the In Limbo book, the first book, and it's essentially, as it says on the front here, it is Brexit testimonies from EU citizens in the UK. There is a companion volume, In Limbo 2, which contains testimonies of UK citizens living in EU states, and it is essentially their story. It's about the recollections and experiences of people finding themselves in an horrendous situation through circumstances completely beyond their control. People who've not had a voice in the debates that's been tearing us apart these last few years. Now, I don't want to get into a back and forth with anyone about the pros and cons of Brexit. Anyone, if for whatever reason, has read any of my stuff, God knows why you would, but if you have read any of my books, you'll know pretty much where I stand on the issue. It's very personal to me. My wife is an EU national maker. She comes from Slovakia and works in the emergency services here. She, it's a hellish job, and she handles it far better than I would do. She handles everything that's thrown at her brilliantly. But one thing I've noticed that's become far more prevalent since the referendum is the level of abuse, the F off home, foreign so-and-so. I don't really want to repeat the words here. And there have been several instances that really stick in my memory, and that form the basis of a couple of, certainly the last two books that I wrote were very much based on those experiences of Mika, of other family and friends who have been essentially racially abused and scapegoated and gaslighted by, not just people on the street, but it's coming from all levels of society, shall we say. And it's a very difficult thing to see a loved one go through that and feel powerless to help. So one of the small ways I can do things, there's, in terms of campaigners, etc., there's far more eloquent people than I. I'm not a skilled orator by any means. You'll probably tell if you've seen these videos. The only thing I can really do is write books, and most people would argue that I can't do that. So that's what I do. I write these things into my stories, and I can help spread that voice with a video like this, hopefully anyway. So a little bit about what the In Limbo books are about, and the In Limbo project. It's essentially a non-profit project that was started after the referendum by a woman called Eleanor Remigi, who is an Italian translator living in Britain, who wanted to collate and share the testimonies and experiences of people who were affected by what was going on without having a voice to do so. And as those recollections grew, and as people started to get in touch with her, both within the UK and abroad, that grew into the book, the first book. I'm not sure, it was a couple of years ago came out, and then it was followed by In Limbo 2, as I've said, which was the equivalent recollections of British nationals living in Europe. And recently, I think in July this year, this second edition of the first In Limbo book came out. Now, those of you who don't know what this channel's all about, essentially it's random pages, random books, etc. And I will pick a book at random, and I'll flick to a page at random and read from it. Well, as I do sometimes, I've cheated in that I haven't picked the book at random. I picked this quite deliberately. And I'm still going to pick a story at random from it. I'm going to flick to a page, and I'm going to read the recollections of this individual to you. I'm doing it at random for several reasons. One, because that's what I do on the channel, but also I don't want to try and give the impression that any one person's story is any more or less important or profound than any of the others in this book. Absolutely every story, every recollection, every memory and experience in these pages is capable of moving you profoundly, or I certainly hope that it is. So I don't, I'm not picking one in particular and saying, well, this one's more important, we're going to pick it at random. And what I'm going to encourage you to do, this isn't about arguing about whether Brexit's a good or bad thing. It's about common decency. It's about how we treat other people. It's about broken promises to people who have no power and no voice, to challenge that, to challenge those promises. So I would encourage you to, whatever side of the fence you're on in terms of the Brexit debate, to think about how we can all of us, me included, treat people better and be more aware of the pain that is being caused, and see what we can do to try and change that. But anyway, enough of me waffling on and droning on. There are many places you can go for more factual and more data-driven arguments about Brexit. I'm probably not one of them, but I want to read from you the real-life experiences of somebody now. So let's go here. Okay. I'm going to start, I might actually read two because these ones are a little bit short, so I'm going to start with a recollection by MM from Italy. I've been living in North London since 1999, and despite a few hard moments, I'd say I always felt at home here. Work, friends, relationships, all normal stuff. Until last June. I have a young daughter with special needs and she needs a mummy. Now, here's the problem. As we have no idea what rights, if any, we will retain after Brexit, the tension in my house is tangible and constant. I have to do my PR application, but I'm too busy with all of this stuff, and frankly, I'm so pissed off I don't want to see papers. My husband has told me that if they deport me, my baby cannot come with me because here she has a health support network. He's disgusted at the racist and xenophobic narrative and has no faith in the government. We've been arguing a lot over my failure to produce all necessary documents for the application. I cannot help it if I no longer have all the flight confirmations of my travels for the last 5 years. I'm so stressed out I have a skin rash. My daughter feeds on my anxiety and is detrimental for her health. The thought that they will separate us fills me with a feeling worse than the fear of death. At least with death, you know it's something that has to happen. Brexit should never have happened. Wow. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that one because, as I said, I don't want to start getting into a tit-for-tat as to which story is more powerful and profound. That one is typical of what you will hear in there. There is anger, there is grief, there is resentment. But what I think you'll also find is, what I will hope you will come away from this book with as well, is a perverse sense of hope. This is a project that has brought people together. It has given voiceless people a voice, and it is, and people have found friendships and discovered relationships as a result of this project bringing people together, which is it's a perverse side effect, or not perverse. It's a welcome side effect, I suppose, of campaigning on an issue, is that you will make friendships, even if they're online friendships, even if they're casual, with people you wouldn't have come across perhaps before. So we have to take that as a positive, and what I hope we can do is get this book shared, bought as widely as possible. So I always encourage you to buy the books of the authors I do videos for, and I stand by every one of those recommendations. But if you're going to buy any one of them, I would ask you to get this, read it, experience it, let it speak to you. If possible, send a copy to your MP so that they know what the reality of life is, what people are actually experiencing, and hopefully through what will I imagine be a big effort together, we can make some changes. Okay, I'll leave it at that one. We'll probably have a more fun book next time, but every so often we need to do something that I think is truly important, and this is it for me. So enjoy your day, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.